Now at 5, Missouri Southern is cleaning up after a pipe breaks and floods one of its buildings. Plus, the Republican presidential primary heats up as more candidates drop out ahead of the New Hampshire primary. And how doctors are one step closer to understanding how Alzheimer's affects the brain.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Another local government building is dealing with a burst pipe. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Elise Snowy. More than 80 staff members at Missouri Southern had to move their offices to different buildings after a fire sprinkler system pipe broke down on the 3rd floor of Hearns Hall on Sunday. High pressure water flowed for about 30 minutes in the university's main administration building, enough to spread through all 3 floors of the facility. But despite the challenges of relocation, the employees are maintaining a positive attitude about it.
I call it camping because it's kind of like we're all camping together, and I enjoy being in the banter of the daily.
We're still getting adjusted. It's taken a little bit of time. My department is all in one classroom space where we used to have individual offices, so it's a little different. We're very cozy and happy working together.
Investigators still haven't determined whether the cold temperatures hitting the area have anything to do with the break. MSSU hopes to have the building back operational by the summer. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us.
Yeah, right back into the deep freeze for us today. Our high temp today was actually 26, but that was at midnight. We've been in the teens ever since then. It's 15 in Joplin, it's 14 in Pittsburgh. We are dry. We're going to stay dry as we go through the evening hours, but it's cold. Anywhere from 15 to 20 in our southwestern counties. So this is about 30 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. Look at the Arctic air in place across the northern and central plains, which is going to hold tight at least for about the next 36 hours. Plus, it's breezy. We got these northwesterly winds, 5 to 10 to 15. So what that means for you is it feels even colder outside. Right now, wind chills are hovering just above 0. Wind chill advisory in effect for us tonight and through at least half of the day tomorrow. We're going to be looking at that, plus our next chance for wintry weather here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you soon, Doug. The city of Carthage is asking residents to take a survey about its aquatic center. The Carthage Municipal Pool was originally designed in the 1930s. In addition to the outdated layout, the facility has experienced significant maintenance challenges. Carthage Parks and Recreation Department is asking residents to provide their input to understand the needs and priorities of the community. For more information on how to take the survey, you can visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina will endorse former President Donald Trump at a rally in New Hampshire tonight. This state's primary is just 4 days away, and reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns is there.
Senator Tim Scott is headed to a rally for Donald Trump in New Hampshire to announce he's officially backing the former president. The South Carolina Republican ended his own run for the presidency in November.
I think this is an attractive endorsement for President Trump to have. He is somebody who I think has a connection to people in New Hampshire. So I'm not surprised to see him, if the reports are true, to be heading up there tonight.
Scott is the 25th senator to endorse Trump, who remains the Republican frontrunner in New Hampshire. Recent polling finds former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley in a strong second position after coming third in Iowa. She met Friday with voters at a coffee shop in the town of Hampton.
I'm close to feeling confident about her in terms of my vote. I'm a registered Democrat, but I feel like I will change my party to independent.
Democrats are not allowed to vote in the Republican primary, but independents are. Trump has complained that rule is artificially propping up Haley, but some political analysts say it better reflects who's more electable in November.
Well, I think what's really at stake for New Hampshire is whether or not Nikki Haley can really pull away. I think that if we see Donald Trump come in below 50%, then that's going to indicate that there's a lot of Republicans who are looking for someone else.
Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is in New Hampshire today.
Hello, South Carolina!
But he has shifted resources to South Carolina, where he'll campaign this weekend. Caitlin Huey-Burns, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Maine's Secretary of State is appealing a judge's ruling that put on hold her removal of Trump from the ballot. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says the Justice Department's 600-page report on the Uvalde school shooting makes clear what many have believed from the beginning, that the students and staff at Robb Elementary School were failed by the police who were supposed to help them. Police waited 77 minutes before confronting the gunmen. The report puts much of the blame on school police chief Pete Arredondo, who they say failed to treat the incident as an active shooter situation. Actor Alec Baldwin is headed back to court. A grand jury today indicted him on a charge of involuntary manslaughter for the 2021 shooting death of a crew member during rehearsal on a movie set. Baldwin was charged in the case before, but prosecutors dismissed it. They say the new charge comes after a new analysis of the gun used in the shooting. Still ahead, technology changing the retail industry.
Meet the robots that are joining the workforce soon. I'm Bradley Blackburn with Apollo and other new technology that's giving businesses a helping hand.
And next in Health Watch, what new research shows about fascia and its importance in the body. Topping today's Health Watch. Doctors are one step closer to understanding how Alzheimer's affects the brain. A new study from Northwestern University identified strands of RNA, or ribonucleic acid, that contributes to brain cell death in Alzheimer's patients. They also found older individuals with strong memories have higher amounts of protective RNA strands in their brain cells. We're learning more about the toll the COVID pandemic took on first responders. A new survey by Florida Atlantic University found burnout contributed to a higher rate of substance abuse, with 21% of first responders saying they couldn't cut down on their use, and 7% saying it caused them to neglect responsibilities. Have a sore muscle or joint? It might actually be your fascia that is causing the problem. It's a tissue paper thin layer that covers your muscles and joints, and doctors are now finding there's a lot more to it than previously thought. Dr. Malika Marshall has more.
And what the foam roll does, it just kind of mechanically separates the fascia from the muscles.
Grant Ward has been working with a physical therapist since shoulder pain made it tough to do simple tasks.
Literally going into a parking lot and getting a ticket out of the booth was very difficult.
Since then, he's learned a lot about fascia and how it can trigger pain. You know that thin, slimy film on chicken? That's what we're talking about. It's a series of protective coverings on our muscles, joints, and tendons.
We now know it's much more than that. It composes a 3D structure for support, has nerve endings for feeling, and also can send out signals for pain.
According to Dr. Saurav Shah, co-chief of sports medicine at the New England Baptist, when muscles feel sore, it may actually be the fascia is inflamed or has adhesions, meaning instead of being smooth, it becomes crinkled or gummy.
When you have a sore muscle, you're probably going to get stiff, and the stiffness comes from the adhesions that form around the coverings, right, the fascia.
So how do you keep your fascia healthy in the first place?
That's a good question, right? So short answer is resistance training. This helps remodel your fascia to optimal tension, length, covering.
That's why Grant is still meeting with the physical therapist, because he's seeing benefits throughout his body.
So certainly range of motion is definitely better, and I'm absolutely stronger.
And he can now reach that parking ticket, no problem. Dr. Malika Marshall, CBS News, Boston.
According to the Cleveland Clinic, some yoga poses can also help alleviate the pain caused by a tightened fascia. Musicians, surgeons, and even gamers perform better after physical exercise. New research from the University of Copenhagen shows after participants rode a bike, the part of their brain that remembers fine motor skills performed about 10% better. Researchers say this could apply to performing better in everyday tasks like driving a car. Well, that's a look at today's health news. A little later, new details are released in a lawsuit alleging children are being targeted by predators on Facebook and Instagram.
Plus, we're still in the deep freeze, but the big question is for how long? We're going to look at that coming up. Well, I hope you've had a great Friday and, of course, made it through another work week. We've had the extreme cold really since last Friday. We did have a couple days that we got up a little bit warmer, but look at this. So last Friday, we had a midnight high of 52 and then a high of 19 Saturday. Only one, that was it. On Sunday, 9, 13, 36, 42 yesterday, still below normal, and then an afternoon high of 17 for us again today. We are going to get out of this. The second half, or at least the last 10 days of January, are going to look a lot better. Nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Temperatures cold. If you are going to be out tonight, bundle up. Northwesterly winds kicking in, so our temperature is sitting really mid-teens right now. And look at this Arctic air in place across the northern and central plains, and you can see it gets super cold tonight. Minus 24 Lincoln, minus 24 in Sioux Falls. As we get into Saturday, Arctic air still in place, but watch how the cold air advances off toward the northeast and retreats by the time we get into Sunday. So yes, super cold tonight, tomorrow night. Then things start to look up. Wind chill advisory in effect until noon tomorrow. It's not windy, but it's breezy and it's cold. Northwesterly winds anywhere from 10 to 15. So what that does is it makes it feel colder than what it actually is. Wind chill factors right now sitting at about 1, 2, or 3 degrees. These will drop during the overnight hours tonight. So by morning, it's going to feel like minus 10 to minus 15 degrees, which is cold. As we go through the daytime hours tomorrow, wind chill still kind of hovering 0 to about 5. And then as the winds lighten up a little bit tomorrow night, they won't drop as far tomorrow night as what we are going to see tonight. We do have a few clouds kind of working through, but overall, pretty quiet. Our next storm system is building out across the Pacific Northwest. Look at the turns off the coast of California and the West Coast. We have numerous little waves which are going to head toward us over the next week. All right, let me walk you through your weekend. Cold start, 4 in Stockton, 3 in Neosho, 3 in Miami, 3 in Chanute. Partly sunny skies tomorrow, that northeasterly wind by noon. Most of us are sitting 14, 15 degrees. By the afternoon, we do get up to right around 20, about 19 Parsons, 24 at Grand Lake, Nevada, up to about 19 degrees. Tomorrow night, not near as cold. We hold into the mid-teens, and then as we get into Sunday, our temperatures get back above freezing. But it's Sunday night. We got to keep our eyes on. See this pink? This is a little bit of light freezing rain, light freezing drizzle, which is going to push through into Monday morning. So that could cause a little bit of an issue on the roadways as we get a little light glaze across the region. Something we want to watch as we go through the next couple days. Good news is by Monday morning, temperatures warm up above freezing. So if we do get a light glaze, it won't be on the roads very long. 22 tomorrow, 38 Sunday. Rain chances Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then again next Friday and Saturday. But it's nice to see 40s and 50s instead of 1 degree like we had last Sunday.
Oh yeah, that's definitely encouraging for sure.
It's looking up.
Thanks, Doug. Well, U.S. private spacecraft that blasted off from Cape Canaveral last week, hoping for an historic lunar touchdown, has failed. Peregrine was one captured firing its thrusters shortly before burning up in the Earth's atmosphere. Astrobotics, the company behind the robotic lander, says the spacecraft developed a fuel propellant leak, forcing the company to scrap its mission to land on the surface of the moon.
The leak that had occurred had done 2 things. One is it had veered us a little off course. You could think about it as like a left or right off course, but it had also slowed down our trajectory to indicate that if we did nothing from that point forward, that we were very likely to return back to Earth.
Peregrine 1 was carrying a payload that included human remains and DNA of more than 70 deceased people, as well as some NASA experiments. The mission would have been the first U.S. lunar landing in more than 50 years. Coming up, we'll take a look at the new technology changing the retail industry. Topping today's Consumer Watch. New details have emerged about a lawsuit accusing Facebook parent company Meta of creating a breeding ground for child predators. According to a newly unredacted version of the complaint, the social media giant has a long history connected to concerns about young users being targeted. People both inside and outside of the company have complained about children being exposed to sexual content and inappropriate messages from adults. The lawsuit accuses Meta of not doing enough to protect children and teens from exploitation. The Biden administration is announcing another $325 million of federal investments in electric vehicle charging stations. The U.S. Departments of Treasury and Energy are releasing new census parameters to be eligible to receive a tax credit towards EV chargers. The government says about 2/3 of Americans will be able to take advantage of the tax credit. Agencies say it will take up to 30% of the cost off of a charger to those in low-income communities and non-urban areas. Brick and mortar stores are incorporating more technology. Robotics and artificial intelligence are designed to speed up the buying process so customers can move faster and businesses can make more money. Bradley Blackburn got a look at some cutting-edge tools and the changes coming for customers and employees.
At the National Retail Federation's Expo in New York, the hall is packed with gadgets and gizmos changing the way companies do business. There are robots that can cook and some that look a lot like humans. This is Apollo, a humanoid robot designed to work autonomously in warehouses and factories. And unlike a human, Apollo can work almost non-stop.
4 hour per battery pack, and then you just swap out the battery pack. So we target this 7 days a week, 22 hours a day.
At the grocery store, shelves are getting a high-tech upgrade.
You're telling me my grocery store is going to look like Times Square?
It could. Barry Bates with Lenovo showed us this display already in use in some U.S. stores. Prices can be changed in an instant, and a camera uses AI to collect demographics and learn about customers.
How long do I linger and do I actually buy? So it's capturing that information for future reference.
This drive-through being tested can detect customers who've opted into a loyalty program and shift the menu display based on their ordering history to emphasize items they may like. And a convenience store may soon look like a giant ATM. Startup 1M Robotics, backed by Microsoft, squeezes a whole store's inventory into a few hundred square feet. A kiosk takes your order and it brings the shelves to you. No clerk needed.
That was fast.
So yeah, it's 9 seconds picking time per item.
It's also designed to prevent shoplifting. Products are released only to paying customers.
This prevents that altogether by having everything tucked away behind the walls of the machine while allowing the customer to get that seamless, frictionless purchasing journey.
Technology helping business that could be in store in more stores soon. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
For the first time in a long time, Walmart managers are getting a raise. The retailer issued a statement saying it's increasing their average pay more than 9%. That comes out to around $128,000, up from a $117,000 average. Walmart says this represents the first adjustment to store managers' pay scale in more than a decade. This pay hike goes into effect February 1st. Final check on the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a group of students recently took an imaginary trip to Mexico. We'll see how they're getting closer to their destination. Then on KOAM News at 6, we'll hear more from MSSU officials about the cleanup following a burst pipe in one of the buildings. Plus, the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile visits the 4 states. And Nevada takes on Fort Scott in the semifinals of the 4-state Classic Tournament. We'll have the highlights. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Gamers from 3 other universities came to Pitt State today for an esports competition. Teams from Missouri Southern, Emporia State, and Missouri Western showed up to compete in 4 games: Valorant, Rocket League, Overwatch, and League of Legends. For this event, the competitors were set up on stage in the Dottie and Bill Miller Theater, with spectators viewing a live stream in the Linda and Leah Scott Performance Hall. I feel like esports is like taking over the U.S., so it's great to see Pitt State taking part in it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, another super cold night for us tonight. We're going to drop back right around 3 or 4 degrees. Only 22 tomorrow, 15 tomorrow night, 38 on Sunday. Could get some freezing rain Sunday night into Monday morning, so we got to keep our eyes on that over the next couple days.
Absolutely, but like I said, those temperatures are promising. I'm looking forward to them for sure. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Thanks for making us part of your night.